Hi, yeah, it's Xavier. Welcome to a bonsai retreat. And guess what? We're going to do a little bit of work in this video, but we're also going to enjoy the variation of colours that's currently going on in my bonsai garden. No, stop right there. No good. It's a week later. I've got 2 or 3 centimetres of snow on my juniper. Everything is covered in snow and ice. So yes, we're going to crack on with how the garden looks in autumn, but I thought we'll mix it up a bit. So while we're seeing the autumn colours of maybe a week, 10 days ago, we might also mix it in with how it looks right now, snowbound. The ginkgo's dropping from greens to yellows, the reds going through the maples going through the multitude of different colours, oaks going from the deep yellows falling. There's so much work to do in autumn, and you've already seen a load of it. But I did take some of this footage, and let's enjoy it together before I get on and deal with this hornbeam, which many of you should know about as a failed air layer from 2023. It's amazing just seeing how the autumn colours have hit this root over rock Chinese elm. Go from that bright vivid green that we're so used to seeing to this old flaky yellow, and these very old and refined Chinese elms. Well, normally I would already have these in the cold frame, and yeah, this is taking me a little bit by surprise. So today we've got a bit of moving to do, because all that fine twigs do become vulnerable to this sort of weather effect. The ash is now completely devoid of leaf, and in fact has become the perfect little place for our little spider there to catch its next meal. Suitably guarded, of course, by my mudman. Look at all that covering those trees. Relatively speaking, for those trees, that's like feet and feet of snow. They should be okay, to be fair. The dwarf azalea, which at this stage, it's nice to point out, has already set the buds that are going to be flowering next year, and I'm sure many of you are going to eagerly be waiting to see the lovely flowers come out on this. All the azaleas, from my experience, definitely prefer to keep their leaves free of snow and ice. So we may well see a negative consequence of that. We'll wait and see, but these need to go into the cold frame now. We'll step out and have a look at this Fuji cherry, which, as many of you will know if you saw my earlier videos, was actually a 3-foot bush, and now is looking pretty decent, but pretty well devoid of all leaves. There's the bonsai railway bed, using railway sleepers. Absolutely. There's the snow level, which is about 6-7 inches. The escalonia. The trident that I planted out, we've had quite a bit of growth actually on that one. Now, the last time we looked at this, I believe I put this wire on. This wire has now been on for best part of 4 months. Moving into winter, I have every reason to believe that that's held. So before I take it all off, we're just going to check. I've got just a gentle insinuated bend there. Let's just see if it holds. And we've got that gentle bend there, but I don't want to keep the wire on this any longer. I'm going to spin at this first. Probably a bit difficult to see. I mean, this is that classic autumnal, the way the hornbeams, they brown up. The leaves don't fall per se. They stay on there generally, I think, to protect the the future buds. Doesn't mean I can't take them off if I want to. So let's do that first. In fact, before I remove all that, let's just give it a spin when it's in its coppery brown dead state. It's got miles to go, but whether it'll ever make it as a bonsai I don't know, but I'm trying to salvage something from it. There might be something in there, I don't know. Anyway, let's get the leaves off, and I'm just going to cut them at the base of the leaf and just leave the little stalk still on there. And in fact, I'm sure you've got much better things to do than watching me remove leaves. So I'm going to go away and do this and come back to you, and it's time to do a bit of pruning. Okay, well, all the leaves are off. I've also removed the wire, and certainly it's held the position. Very, very light marking there. And now I really need to think about what sort of pruning I do. Now I know straight away people are going up there, this isn't a bonsai. No, nowhere near it. But it's got potential. These things bud from bare wood quite happily as long as it's healthy, and this is healthy. So yes, I'll either need to do some sort of thread graft or something to produce another branch here, or who knows, potentially there may be a bud point. But either way, may have an angle for a tree in here, the back branch here, that could actually work, looking at that. It's going to be unusual, but hey, in the bonsai retreat, most of my trees are unusual. So I'm not going to go too wild. I want to see what the tree's going to tell me. As I said to you earlier, what I am going to do though is just do a bit of stub clearance. And as I'm cleaning the stubs, I'm going to have a little bit of a thought about bud directions, because we've got this coming down here. There's a bud there, 1, 2 buds there. I'm just going to shorten off a little bit, probably shorten off a bit more. Do the same thing, so I'm leaving it to sort of two buds either side of each other for next spring's growth. While I'm going through doing that, do you know what occurred to me? I haven't spoken to you about the Mugo pines, and again, I think the big pattern that you're seeing in 2024 is that it's so much repotting that we know that first year for a tree, whether it be a conifer, whether it be a deciduous, whatever, is normally a case of regroup, sort its roots out, and then we start seeing some good work in the second year. So let's just go and have a reminder of how the Mugos are looking, and when you come back, hopefully I'll have taken this a lot further. So now we get to our winter gold Mugo pines, and as I say, we're in the I think second week of October, and really there's only 2 things I'm going to be looking at doing right now. One, very aware the wire's been on a long time, and between you, me and the gatepost I can already see that it's bitten in quite deeply in a few places. Not ideal, but I definitely need to get that wire off. What I can say is as they age and get older, the bark gnarls up, and it's probably quite alright and be able to hide those scars. And the other thing is, normally in the spring or in the sort of summertime when the new growth is pushed out, we'll just make sure that we've selected down to just 2 buds or candles for the next year. So I'll just have a little look around and see what it's like. We'll give it a quick spin so you can see where it is that we're at. And as I say, these have changed a lot from the original design. I will of course pluck the older needles. Interesting, long way to go I know, but this is definitely a slow project for me. Okay, so let's have a look where the wire's harming most, shall we? You can clearly see here, and you can see the red marking there as well. I call it rust marks, but that's digging in there and here, so we've got quite a lot. If you look in here, very, very deep in there. So, you know, and under there, it's actually buried in there, and that's one of those times when you have to make a choice. If I pull that out, I'll expose a whole load of cambium. Sometimes it's easier just to cut and leave that little bit of wire in there, and it's just a case of very carefully with your non-rusty wire cutters. So you notice they've got the blunt end so you don't end up cutting the tissue. Don't need to worry about that, because truthfully I've already done that with the wire. And for those of you who are a little bit upset with me, yeah, sometimes you just lose track of things, and I mean, these were in display in the front of the garden for me. It shouldn't have been an issue, but I forgot them, and it happens. But thankfully, you can see it is a rough textured species. You can clearly see there the extent to which it's dug right in. That will heal over, I'm not concerned about that. What I will do is a little bit of clean up on some old stubs. We can get rid of those. This great one here, I'm going to take that one out. And then we're going to use some putty, cut putty from Notion Bonsai, which will just fit in there nicely. Okay, so we've got that line that I'm looking for up there. This is all very, very long. I don't intend to do any pruning on this. I don't even intend to do any wiring right now. We are looking to see how many buds we've got at different sites. An example of the sort of things that I'll probably be looking at in the spring, to be fair. Take this one here. If you look inside, one bud there, another bud there, coming off a single junction. But in here deep, there's a couple of smaller ones there. I won't take them away now, but I'll do that in the spring. This one actually has only developed a single bud. That's problematic. I'm going to be doing some more research on bonsai nut, because there's someone called Robert Vance who's done a very, very detailed guide on his experiences with Mugo pine. So bonsai nut, Robert Vance. Here's the example we're talking about, where we've got multiple buds, 1, 2, 3. Again in here, just got the one in there, but lower down, right inside, I can see that there's actually more buds in there. Same here, multiple buds where I did the pruning cut earlier in the year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now they're not going to be sprouting now, so I have no expectation of wasting energy. In the spring, that's what I need to look at. The other thing I'll do at this time of year is going around the trunk, just getting all or any algae that may have built up there, get it off and away. What we don't want, knowing that we're going into the winter heavy rain period, is to have any chance of rotting occurring, algae build up, liverwort. In terms of feeding, I have probably a couple of weeks ago put some blood and bone onto this, and also a combination of fish emulsion. Well, there it is, and I can see something, and there's a lot of buds in there close, which I'll show you. There's a lot of buds in there all over. There's a lot of stuff there, so I have quite good hopes for this. Obviously, winter wash, we do need to do that. And I've had a good look in the soil, and that's all in very, very good condition. I was also looking at that as a possible front somewhere in there. All depends how this develops. What do you think of the Mugo pine, by the way? Disappointed or not? Quietly, I think they're going to be all right. A few other things I'm going to show you.
And we look at Labrador Mountain now. In fact, we can't even see our little puppy in there, can we? I was going to do an update, or a final update, on the growing beds versus the pots experiment. But as you can see, well, snow has fallen early in Grantham, so I think we're going to have to wait for spring. Not a problem. I'm going to go in and wrap some Christmas presents instead.
In fact, while we're considering the autumn colours in the bonsai retreat, let's bring our attention back to this Korean hornbeam. It's the only one in my collection. There's been a number of videos on it, but apart from the repot when I put it into this Dawn Isaac ceramic, which I absolutely adore, it's been a very, very slow grower, and I love it. Probably hasn't been a star in the retreat. So what do I want to do with this? Well, again, I'm going to be going around exactly the same thing, looking at old stubs, cutting them back. Now, I actually prefer to do my pruning for this in the spring, when I see where around the tree the green buds are opening up. It just gets a bit temperamental for me. So all I'm going to do is, when I can see some obvious places, I'll remove the stubs where we've got a bud, clear place of buds I'll quite happily cut back to. What we don't want is, as with all of them, any of these weeds or mosses or horrible green bits potentially destroying our very valuable bonsai. Now, while I'm continuing working my way around this, why don't we visit Subscribers Corner and see some of the fantastic photos that have been coming in from yourselves over the last probably 6 weeks now. Glad you've rejoined me. Hopefully you've enjoyed some of those photographs, and as I said, if you've got some great bonsai or anything that you really want to send in and let me see and share, then please, you know the address, expressionsbonsai@gmail.com. Normally I'll collect up until I've got sort of a minute or two's worth to show, so that's why sometimes there can be a longer delay, but trust me, your picture will get shown. If you send me loads, obviously I'll pick just a few. Now, looking at this, there was just a little bit of the that horrible liverwort starting to form, but overall the soil isn't in that bad a condition, so I'm quite happy with that. What I do need to do again is just double check, get the toothbrush in there and just clean out crannies and all that sort of stuff, usual business. Before I go any further on this, we all know it's going to rain. We've got to get on the winter spray, make sure we don't get any bugs causing us problems while this is sleeping at the bottom of the garden. I'm sure there's a few of you saying, very, very unusual, have I got more plans for it? And do you know what? No. It's going to stay as it is. I like it. There may be an argument for removing this branch here, and perhaps I'm hoping for a branch that might come out lower here, but this is definitely fits in the category of one of my slow growers. So sometimes it's enough to just love how your bonsai looks right now. Let me know what you think. Maybe you might look at that and come up with something that I haven't even thought about. But yeah, it's definitely it's well over 50 years old now. And here's another spoiler. Please, please, don't go screaming loudly when you see me pop up in and perhaps a little 5-minute ad, because I got approached by someone called Raycon, and they do these fab earbuds. Now I know lots of people say, yeah, all the influencers are doing it, but just let me have fun with one ad in a week or two's time, and do me a favour, watch it and tell me what you think of it. It's not going to be my general way of doing things, but I wanted to try it, so look out for that one. Raycon earbuds. Anyway, let's get back to our autumn colours, shall we? Greenwood's juniper. Out from underneath that incredible structure. A load of work to do, but as we look up we start seeing the weight of snow, and perhaps this gives us an idea of what you would truly see in nature, with the snow pads weighing our bonsai down. I don't think we'll be doing much with those now. While we're looking at other parts of the autumnal garden, it is amazing to have a look at some of our evergreens. This Olearia traversi, which has been the Rhino loves it, which has been an incredible success. One that I never expected to look like this. In fact, that comes in a rather interesting video, I think called Impossible Trees for Bonsai. The link's up there. You really want to see what this looked like before a slight change of potting angle. But anyway, let me continue to get some of these weeds out, because just because they're not deciduous, it doesn't mean we shouldn't be looking out for them and making sure they too are set up for the winter. Well, I think that's much better, and I think really that's all you need to see in the autumn, because after this we are going to go depths of cold, and I'm going to be looking forward to a bit of a break from bonsai and bonsai videos, but more of that in a couple of weeks' time. So, from Xavier, if you want something interesting to watch, I've picked one of my favourites, most underwatched videos from 2022. I may be a bit stilted, but at least you'll have a laugh if you watch that. Enjoy the rest of autumn, happy bonsai and God bless. Cheers.